Welcome to the MadTrio podcast. This week we have the California Pariah, Jonathan Charny. James, the fat guy.
Hello.
Rob, the old guy.
You're listening to the Rob Charny
That's
Show.
it. That's me.
And Miss Oddassaty herself, Melanie.
He's trying so hard.
He is. He's doing good. He's doing really good. Let's not. We can't keep criticizing until I play the drop that we never seem to change.
We can keep criticizing him as much as we want. He just doesn't listen.
So,
All right, so we're going to talk about the big news.
Oh yeah, the biggest news.
I just
September
played
8th, 2022, and Jonathan's trying to play
England.
God Save the Queen.
I just tried playing God Save the Queen, so there's a bit
Yes.
of, but one of the greatest monarchs in the last 100 years passed away. 96 years old, was on the throne for 70, was in World War II. She saw from, I would say probably England's, UK's power at the max, to the greatest heights to where it is today.
Well, she took over after World War II, so when you say the greatest heights, I don't know if that's true. It was more like World War I era. Her grandfather, but
true. I'd say the tail end of the height of their power to
and don't forget when you talk about greatest monarchy, there's a lot of people from India and other areas that I kind of maybe disagree with you.
Okay, let's put it this way. How about somebody who is probably our
The
greatest
longest sitting monarch in history that we know of, 70 years.
True.
How's that?
And and then we have King Charles III. That's, I guess, going to be his official name.
Right.
Right.
Correct.
I wish I remembered. I think King Charles II was in the minor revolution they had, if I remember my history correctly, which is not very good when it comes to English history.
What? Never mind.
The other thing I wanted to talk about is the most decorated officer in the history of the 82nd Airborne laid to rest in Arlington. This is from September 2nd, 2022. And the ceremony Friday, September 2nd, Lieutenant Colonel James Megallas, Megallas, the most decorated officer in the history of the 82nd Airborne Division, will be laid to rest in Arlington National Cemetery.
How old was he?
Huh?
How old was he?
Article here doesn't say. But he was definitely an older gentleman. It says in 1943, while serving with H Company, 3rd Battalion, 504 Parachute Infantry Regiment, 82nd Airborne Division, Megallas found himself in heavy combat in the mountains outside of Naples, Italy. He was hit by fragmentation grenade from a German grenade. So he was up there. He was probably 80s or 90s, would be my guess.
Might have to be in the 90s.
Yeah, I was going to say, 90s at least.
90s.
Probably early 90s.
Well, thank you for your service, sir. May you rest in peace.
Yeah, I like to talk about that since, we don't have a whole lot of soldiers left from that era, and anytime they pass, there's a part of history that leaves with them. So I'm always kind of heartbroken about when these gentlemen pass. So many amazing
always
people.
bums my shit out.
No.
Holy
Oh
shit,
my
who the
God,
fuck
he
was that?
shaved. What the heck happened to his face?
Wait, what?
People can't see that.
I gotta throw you guys off every now and again, man.
Man.
His girlfriend probably got tired of looking at Yosemite Sam.
Holy cow.
There have been complaints, not necessarily about the looks.
Okay. Well, so now we got a full house, folks. Welcome to Ryan.
And the Joker in the pack.
What up, you guys?
Yeah.
How's the smoke inhalation treating y'all up there?
Lord, it's
was
not
bad this
good,
morning, and then it moved out.
Yeah, then it came back in, and it's moving out. The problem is that we got a lot of areas in El Dorado County that are starting to go up in flames.
Yeah.
So if anybody's listening to this outside of Northern California, our area is on fire. The Caldor fire, which is last year, burned down a huge section from the Grizzly Flat area up to Tahoe. And this one is 9,000 acres right now in a fairly wild area. So, and everybody here knows people who are possibly going to be evacuated. I know a number of people are being forced to leave. So this is...
Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
So we've got a fifth season here now. You know, there's winter, spring, summer, fall, and fire season.
Yeah, I don't remember this being
is
fire
that?
season when I was a kid. I mean,
What is that
it
audio
just-
I'm hearing?
Does anybody else hear that?
I have
What
a
is
feeling
that?
it's a copyright
a
violation.
commercial from the TV that was on.
Oh, all right.
There.
It was so loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So that
did
was
wanna-
James' fault. I'm busy closing windows out and things going on here. I'm going, what the heck? And it's James.
So I did
See,
want
and
to...
I'm a compulsive tab closer already. So, you know, I knew it wasn't me. I'm like, I don't have shit open.
See, I actually have a Chrome extension that allows me to mute tabs, which sometimes I use. I did want to talk about something I found interesting that seems to be a newer trend that I'm reading. And I'll read the article that gave me this thought is Disney guest won't remove hand from water on It's a Small World. Besides the ick factor, that
Ew.
is anybody seen that water? I've seen a ton of TikToks, YouTubes, and name your social media where people are climbing, getting on places where they're not supposed to be on Disney. Name your theme park, name your area. I find it interesting now that people think they have they can go wherever they want. It's interesting. Like, you know, you always hear that back in the day, people would follow the rules, and now they're kind of breaking everything. And it seems like
I think people might be looking at the history, the past with rose-colored glasses. You know, there's nothing new under the sun.
Wait a minute.
Kids
Wait
were
a minute.
still shitheads back in the day.
No,
these
no,
are adults,
sorry.
though. A lot of these
Yeah,
are
Rob
being grown
remembers
as-
it very differently.
That's right. We were all angels. What are you talking about?
A lot of these,
What's new-
a lot of
what's
these have
new
been
is that
adults,
you
by the
have-
way.
What's new is that you have social media telling you where to go now.
Oh, and
That's how it's different. Like, remember Pokemon when people were like falling off of cliffs because
Yeah.
they were trying to catch the Pokemon?
Yeah, for sure.
And now it's like the TikTok trend. Oh, TikTok says you should go these places you shouldn't go. It's like,
Well, not to mention
only
it's
difference.
it's a bit of over-reporting also because of social media. You feel like these things are happening more often than they are because you're being told about every single incident that happens. And you take it as a representative of a larger number when it's just like, no, that's the 9 times that it happened.
Yeah, exactly.
right.
You've seen all of them.
Well, I mean, if you take a look, people are even going into places they're not supposed to be in government, like Congress. So maybe this is the new trend of people just not following the rules.
So
Are you
that's what-
talking about
that's what
the
January
January
6th
9th? Or, yeah, 9th.
Yes,
Six.
yes.
January 6th was just a TikTok
Right.
trend.
Wrong
Yeah.
one, James. I don't know anything about the January 9th. Tell me, is that a new one? I
No,
hadn't heard. Oh, okay.
no, it's
January
when,
6th.
when
Yeah, you don't know about
gets
January
elected
9th
again.
because you're one of the sheeple.
Hey.
No, I just didn't give a shit either way, so
Oh, wait.
whatever.
So we're gonna jump around a little bit. If you guys got stories, let me know. I've got a ton of them. But my favorite
well-
thing, California has stated 2035, no new gasoline vehicles. You're gonna be stuck with these EVs. A California man gets into his Tesla, notices a message on the screen telling him to avoid charging it.
Yeah, that was our rolling blackout situation that we were supposed to have here in California. And you got to love California, right? Where, you know, we got to go everything electric cars and everything, except for the fact that we cannot produce enough electricity for everybody to turn on their air conditioners when it's 100 degrees outside.
Yeah, which seems to be more and more the trend. I don't feel like this is the last summer we're going to peak 107 over here.
I don't think so. I mean, we broke a record yesterday at 116 in Sacramento.
Yeah,
Come
yeah,
on.
not a good record.
Jeez.
It was 99 degrees in Richmond. Like, for the Bay Area to hit 100 degrees,
Oh,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
insane.
That's
And we don't
nuts.
have AC in our houses. We don't have air conditioning.
That's right.
No,
you
get
guys
that
are
good coastal
dying.
breeze,
Big.
man.
Bay Area people are dying over there. It's 100 degrees, man.
Seriously? I mean,
Yes,
100
sir.
is not bad, but when you don't have AC,
Yeah,
100
that's
is
right.
awful.
That's a
brutal.
problem.
I
Just
just
go
That's
down to
the
the
kind of heat
ocean.
that'll change a person.
Yeah.
the problem is that the Bay Area and the smell. You've got the ocean, you've got the homeless. Ugh.
Well,
You know what?
also,
Okay.
So James said, like, go to the ocean, right? But I just read this article that on the California coast, there's a flesh-eating, what was it? I want to say isotope.
Amoeba?
That's wrong. Some kind of like,
Bacteria.
yeah, some kind of small creature. And it's like, I want to say it was like 0.3 inches or something like that, like small.
Jeez. Huh.
But they huddle together in large groups.
Mm.
So you'll get this whole mass of them that'll just like attack your ankles and your feet because
Oh, how
it's in
special.
the shallow water and the beaches. You can't even go to the ocean. It's not even an
no.
option.
Wow.
There's
Now you
such-
got to stay off the beach.
yeah.
If it's not, if it,
Just throw some of the seagulls in there, get them to get eaten, and then go in.
Oh, gosh.
There you go.
This
So
world's
the-
coming.
With
This
the
world's
boots
coming to
on.
an end. I mean,
Instead of
you
the
know,
canary in the coal mine, it's the seagull in the ocean.
there you go. Yeah.
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 we'll talk about the world
Jeez.
coming to the end. It seems like I may be right. How going to the movies is going to be not so common.
Son of
The
a
second-
bitch. I knew this was
no.
going to happen. I've been
Uh-oh.
waiting 3 months for this speech.
Hey, I may be right that it may be a boutique experience that the second biggest chain in the world for movie theaters is going bankrupt. The movie theater Cinema World, which owns Regal Cinemas, is heading into bankruptcy.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, that one place is heading into bankruptcy, being taken over, by other places. You know what I mean? It's not like oh, one of the only couple of places that do movie theaters. Like there's a lot of different.
It's
up and
number
comers.
2. It's number 2 in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
owned by
but I don't see
the
a lot of
world.
Regal Cinemas anymore, but I still see a whole lot of movie theaters. You
Oh,
know
man,
what I
they're
mean?
all over the place up
AMC's
here.
and
Well, you live
networks.
in Southern California. There's
This
like
is
a
true.
movie theater every block. It's like a Starbucks
about.
down there.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely had
That's
our
right.
choice of which movie theater to go to.
Yeah.
You know,
I
you
I
don't
hate,
like one theater, just walk 6 paces and there's another one.
I hate to break it to you. I think almost all the theaters up here that I'm aware of belong to Regal Theaters.
They
We
got a
have
regional
Palladio.
monopoly.
Is Palladio owned by
No,
Regal?
Palladio is AMC, and there's some independents. Our local one up here just turned independent.
Oh, really?
It,
That one I didn't realize.
Yeah, it was Regal, but they went independent. So
Well,
anyway,
and here's the thing: is think about how much cheaper it is to run a movie theater than it used to be, and how much easier it is for distributors like your big distributors, Warner Brothers, Fox, whatever, to get those movies to the theaters. You're not having to pay a mint for the prints to be shipped and
Prints.
all those
Prints.
Yeah, exactly. There are
nobody
no
uses
prints.
prints. No, it's all digital
unless,
download now.
Yeah, unless Tarantino's touring your area. You're going to get a digital download. You get the thing, a code to unlock it inside of your projector, whatever. And it's you're printing money at a movie theater. You have leasing and stuff like that and payroll and all that, but you're aside from just the overhead of the people who run it in the land, you don't have a lot of expenses going out the door. And people are still going to like going to the theaters. People are getting used to going back to concerts and movies and things like that these days. I wonder if there was like a big spike sort of like post-COVID, that correlated with like, oh, hey, don't worry about the masks anymore. Big spike in movies. And then, it kind of leveled back out again.
I think there was a big spike in COVID when every protest had like 1,000, more people than there normally would be. If you watched all those protests, there were a huge amount of people. I think the people as an excuse is just to get out and hang with people.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, I really lost the ability to give a shit when it came to masks. Not because of any political reason, mostly because nobody knew how to wear a damn mask. Like
You are
the
fake
more
news.
people I saw it with it like just over their mouth, and they're like sneezing all over the front of it or something, or they take it down to talk to you, which is the most baffling thing in the world to me. It's just like, what the fuck am I wearing this thing for?
Oh, I saw the best one that I've seen yet was last year sometime. This lady went to sneeze. Instead of keeping her mask on, she drops her mask down to sneeze. It's
Oh,
like,
jeez.
Oh, great. This.
I
you know,
mean, it is pretty nasty when you sneeze in your mask.
Yeah, but
It is the mask version of shitting yourself.
yeah, but that's okay. I wanted her
But
to
that's
because
what
I don't
it's
want her
for.
damn
Right.
germs. I mean, come
Right.
on.
Yeah.
Or like if you burp in your mask, that's pretty bad too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
Depends on what you've eaten. You know.
early in COVID, I had to sit at the DMV waiting in the line. We get there at the DMV early, and we're all sitting out there, and I had my son with me. And we're sitting out there with a mask, and he sneezed in his mask. And it was like dripping down his
I was really thinking that like child sneeze of where you just blow all of the snot and it just runs down your face and shit.
So I'm like, ah, crap. I got to give up my space in line. Trying to find another mask for him and wash his face.
Yeah. And then try to avoid the glares of all the people. Like, can you get your little outbreak monkey out of here, please?
Actually, you know, most of the people around us were just laughing.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, oh, God.
They're like, we have kids.
Yeah.
We've been there. I've seen it. I've seen it
yeah.
before.
Oh my God. I'm glad you didn't take your mask down and just sneeze everywhere, but oh my God. Like, it would have been great if you had warned me and I got you a tissue or something.
I mean,
but-
hey, you know what? He took one for the team like a champion.
Yeah, he did.
He went out on his shield, and I appreciate that.
oh, yeah, it was great. I was like,
so
oh,
talk
man.
about so talk about maybe having law enforcement involved. In the most random story I ran into this week was the Monkees drummer. By the way, the only surviving musician from the Monkees wants the FBI to quit monkeying around and hand over their FBI file. The Monkees, a fake group, has an FBI file.
I want to
Sure,
punch
because
the
they-
fucking reporter who came up with that headline.
They were anti-war, and you know they spoke about against the Vietnam War, and so everybody who did that for the most part had FBI files.
Do
It
the
doesn't
Spice
surprise me.
Girls
That
have
was-
an FBI file? I want to read that and
think-
them. I mean,
I'm pretty sure that everybody that lived through any part of the Cold War has an FBI file.
I'm pretty sure one of my deceased relatives has an FBI file.
Oh yeah, I can guarantee you our relatives had FBI files. They were. Yeah, they were. I'm not gonna say.
So
We're gonna keep it quiet.
Mickey Dolenz, the last surviving member of the 60s band The Monkees, is suing the FBI to get files and reports generated by the Bureau over the years pertaining to him, his deceased bandmates, or the band in general. In the complaint, Dolenz attorney says the musician, submitted a Freedom of Information Act on June 14th after receiving an automated notice of the receipt. Basically, they're monkeying around. I just find it funny.
Ha 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 ha! Monkey around. I got that. Nobody else did. See.
I did. That's why I wanted to punch the reporter.
Yeah.
Partly because I know how self-congratulatory he broke his hand patting himself on the back over that shit.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Look at the
and he
line.
should not have been congratulated.
to be honest,
You're right.
And you just want to slap John now, or
It was-
Sure, why not?
I mean, yeah, no, by ipso facto.
Give him a virtual slap.
it was probably more than anything, it was probably the editor that came up with that title, because the editor was probably 20, has never heard of the Monkees, and thought, oh, this will be funny. Same.
I hate the
next
the
one.
headline dad jokes.
So we talked about Queen Elizabeth passing here after her
QE2.
7-year reign.
The queen is dead. Long
the
live
queen-
the king.
So
no time to invade England.
no,
Like
we
where your
don't.
head's at.
We don't need any more welfare. Welfare to go around. No, we don't need it. So Queen Elizabeth, she was very famous for having corgis. Everybody remember the Pembroke corgis that she had. Well, she definitely thought ahead because none of us or all of us are sitting there scratching our heads saying, gee, I wonder what's going to happen to her corgis. And she actually, the last corgi she owned died, excuse me, in 2018.
She euthanized the rest of them that are being mummified to place with her in her tomb.
Yeah. No. Fortunately, the last one died. And did you know all the corgis that she had all came from the very first corgi she was given as a kid?
So they're inbred like the royal family.
Probably, yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Let's feel some kind of way about the people we rebelled against. I still want to throw tea into the Boston Harbor.
God, you hold a grudge, don't you?
Holy
Hey,
shit.
you know what? I watched Hamilton like 9 times, all right? All that patriotic shit back in the day fucking worked on me, okay?
Wow.
Here we're talking about the poor little corgis, and you throw shade onto the whole thing.
I recently watched 1776. The only thing it made me want to do is break into random songs.
I still will absolutely break into a Hamilton, soundtrack. Just randomly. That shit'll get into my head.
Your turn.
Good
Go.
for you.
Catchy tunes, man. I'll tell you.
What's stopping you? Come on.
Oh yeah, you get nothing from me.
I'm good without it.
Did you guys hear about the glacier that's gonna crack off soon?
You mean the so-called doomsday?
Yeah, like the
And
size of Florida.
It's a fake news story. You did read the science behind it.
You are fake news.
There you go. Who said that?
And
Trump,
not to be that
Trump,
asshole.
how the hell did you get in here?
Oh, I thought that was
Go
Biden.
away.
Not to be that asshole, but it's called calving. I just wanted to announce that I knew that word.
It's not calving. It's calving.
Calving. I mean,
Yeah,
if
just
there's
like-
an L in it.
If you're gonna say it right. You're acting like you really know shit. And
You know
didn't.
what? Because
Hey,
I've
you give
really
me
never
shit. Come
read
on.
the word probably. And I probably haven't been exposed to a lot of people saying it out loud.
Oh, all right. There you go.
It's like the first time you heard somebody say Azkaban from Harry Potter, and you're like, that's how that word is said.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of names from Game of Thrones. I'm like, no shit.
Good luck with those.
Anything Gaelic, God forbid I read a Gaelic name. Just nope. Wasn't gonna get anywhere near that pronunciation.
No, it's
I
impossible.
think the Game of Thrones is subjective. I don't think anybody really knows how to pronounce any of that
point.
shit properly.
You
Good
think
point.
maybe it's not real?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
Oh.
made up. I think
Well,
it's
dang.
imagination.
I like dragons. I was really hoping that was real.
It's like the same shit with Lord of the Rings or Wheel of Time now. Any of
Yeah.
that shit. I mean,
Yeah.
it's subjective to how you want to pronounce it. There's no wrong way.
And I'll bet you I can. I mean, it's so subjective that you have it such a way in your head that when you hear somebody say it out loud, even if it's the way the author intended it, you're like, nah. I reject your reality and substitute my own.
Look at this,
Exactly.
Melanie. Look what you did. Starting off with a glacier, and we went way off base here. Did
Yeah.
you see that?
By the way,
I know there's a fan out there who told J.R.R. Tolkien that's not how you pronounce. Like he's like, oh, it's actually pronounced, whatever. And they're like, no, it's not.
But
They're like,
yeah.
I wrote it. They're like, I don't give a shit.
talk about
Yeah,
nerd
it's not,
rage
it's not
though.
pronounced Hobbit. It's Hobbit.
Have you read
Right? If he
some
said
of the-
Hobbit, they're gonna be like, nah. Sorry, guy.
Have you guys read some of the reviews of Amazon's Lord of the Rings? Holy crap, nerd rage is real.
Dude, like what I watched it, like I think it was like the second day it was out, and it had 1 star on Amazon.
It was awful.
They actually stopped the comments on some site that Amazon owned because it got so much shit.
They say, you have to get the episode 3 before it even gets halfway decent. It was awful. Literally awful. I mean, it was like, oh. Anyway.
I wasn't bothered by it.
Yeah,
It's supposed to
I
be
was
based
less
off of
upset about
Silmarillion,
it
right?
than Wheel of Time.
Wait, hold on.
Oh.
First off, James, you saying you were okay with it does not mean much, considering you watched all 7
I didn't say it
Phantasms in a 48-hour period. So you have no right to talk.
And I'm still upset with him over the whole recent Batman thing.
What you mean the freaking emo Batman?
You mean the best Batman that they made so far? Is that the
You
one
mean
you're
the
referring to?
emo Batman?
That's also the one. Which also see, that's the thing, is that movie could be fucking emo as shit and still be the best Batman that's ever been
My
made.
girlfriend still hasn't finished it.
Well, your girlfriend is a
couldn't
terrible
sit
person.
through it. She couldn't sit through it. I went back and I at least finished it. And I still think it's emo Batman.
I know. I
It
couldn't
is,
finish
but
it.
it's also young Batman,
That
so
Batman
he gets
is
an emo fucking pass, man. I
It's
don't know what to tell
Batman
you.
and gets his ass kicked.
that Batman is so
Batman
emo.
gets
He's
his
still
ass kicked
listening
all
to
the time.
Dashboard
Come
Confessional.
on.
If you got an
Tell him,
argument
Rob.
why
Yeah.
emo Batman is not justifiable.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We'll agree to disagree. So back to cat.
Okay, we're gonna have this whole discussion, and we were talking about a glacier, Ryan. So hold on.
All right.
We will come back to this again.
So this is
We'll
a
have this
glacier the
discussion
size of
again.
Florida that's going to calve, right? Isn't that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Time to duck and cover. The bombs are coming down.
It's supposed to raise
Cover,
ocean.
drowned.
That's right. That's close.
Now listen, folks, when the tsunami comes, duck and cover.
I should have added that siren effect I wanted to.
So,
Yeah.
but okay, even if that thing falls in the ocean, right? Yeah. With this current heat wave, I think we'll be fine. It's just going to melt. It's going to melt before it even lands.
So what people are saying, of course.
Well, if it melts, it'll rise the sea levels like
Right.
3 to 10 feet is what they're saying. So
Well,
I'm
then
like,
we'll be fine out
glad
here.
I live on a hill.
Yeah.
I'm
we are too.
where I sit.
If I
We're
was in
2,000
San
feet.
Jose, I'd be screwed.
Hey,
That's
for
right.
one,
You don't
some of
wanna be
those
at
cities
sea
need
level.
a bath. Let's be honest. San Jose is just a tad bit dirty.
That's one of the ways to flush it out, right?
Yeah.
It's not a
And
good way
Ryan's
to
a-
deal with the homeless problem.
God, I
guys.
wish-
Oh, I
right
don't
now,
know. I didn't even think about that. That's
Yeah,
not a bad
Melanie.
idea.
Just
Right
wash
now,
them
I'm
all
just
in the
really
ocean.
wishing. I'm really wishing that Modesto was closer to the coast.
Or Bakersfield.
Bakersfield.
Bakersfield gets a pass because that's agriculture. Um,
I'm talking about the actual city of Bakersfield.
true talk, but yeah, Modesto, Merced. There's nothing. There's nothing there.
No.
There's anybody who lives there. There's nothing there for you.
Good. Anyways, so Ryan, have you heard of Moxie?
Moxie, like the word,
Or the
or
drink.
like Moxie crime fighter Gillette.
Or John
No,
Moxley,
the
the
Mars
wrestler.
Oxygen In Situ Resource Utilization.
Oh, these people, they've bent over backwards to make sure that acronym worked, huh?
Wow.
So apparently, they sent this little thing, a little bit bigger than a suitcase, out to Mars, and it's actually starting to produce oxygen.
Wow.
So we may be able to see Mars populated before we
Terraformed.
die.
Terraformed. It'll be terraformed.
So
Yeah.
So we can pollute it.
the problem really becomes there was this woman, and gosh damn it, I'm gonna be so pissed off I can't remember this lady's name. She's an author. She wrote this book.
She's going to get
called,
mad too.
Yeah, she is. She wrote this book called Packing for Mars, which is really good. I mean, it's actually it really gets into kind of the science of like, here's how you get to Mars, basically as a human being. The problem really becomes radiation. You're absorbing so much radiation on the way there that the current theory on how to deal with that radiation, because every bit of shielding technology they've tried to come up with has not worked. Some of them have actually made it worse. The best they can come up with is what are acceptable levels of radiation that we're able to treat effectively. You're going to suck up all this radiation. We have a better shot of the medical science getting better at treating radiation poisoning than we do of shielding that radiation.
Do you know?
So, yeah,
do you know?
that's
I
the
would
main
think-
problem you got to solve.
I would think by the time Mars is even ready to be populated, that we would have some type of shield by that point. I mean, you got Elon Musk, your favorite mad scientist, who's already trying to find rockets, that can go out there and come back, which he's basically successfully done so far. Right?
Yeah.
You think he's going to pass up on Mars?
No, but currently the radiation is legitimately an insurmountable problem.
So when we start colonizing Mars, we need a game to play. So
Yeah, and
so the perfect game to play is Oddassaty.
Today's show is brought to you by Oddassaty.
Audacity.
The game where dignity is overrated. Go to ODDASSITY.com. That's ODDASSITY.com. Pick up a card game from this website or selected stores. That's Oddassaty,
Audacity.
the unforgettable party game for mischievous people.
And this just in, use
And it packs
MadTrio, all
light.
caps, all one word for 10% off your final purchase. The perfect game to play while you're traveling to Mars.
Now I have to make a Martian version.
Yes, that's
Yes.
right. Now you got to make a Martian version.
Put something in there about hair and teeth falling out. Okay.
Yeah.
The radiation card.
Yeah, the radiation card for sure.
What you should make that a skip turn. Teeth falling out, not feeling good. Skip this turn.
Instead of roll the dice, roll the teeth.
Oh, there you go.
Some of
Which
my Viking,
molar lands right?
some of my wannabe Viking friends may love that version.
I heard something about mushroom spores being able to survive in outer space, and that's possibly how Earth got terraformed, was from mushrooms. I wonder.
There's been that theory. Yeah, there's been that theory for a while. It's called one of my favorite terms of all time, panspermia.
Oh yeah.
Pervert.
Yeah. That some asteroid, knocked off some chunk of whatever, and that hit something in with the place with the right, atmospheric things and whatnot, and then life.
If mushroom spores can survive outer space, then there is something in them that can withstand radiation.
Same thing with tardigrades. There's they're not quite microscopic, but water bears can survive the radiation. So can cockroaches. There's a few things that can deal with radiation really well.
So Elon can figure it out. We can terraform Mars. Elon will figure it out.
But that's the thing, is that they're trying to use those types of things, these things that can withstand radiation, to effectively change the DNA via like CRISPR. To change your genetic makeup to be able to withstand radiation, because that seems more feasible than just building the shielding around a ship.
I think I saw that movie in the 1950s. Didn't turn out well for Earth for a while.
Yeah, and then you got a rocket equation to deal with, where you could really only go so fast to Mars, given our current understanding of physics.
What was that movie where oh god, I just lost his name. Jeff Goldblum gets spliced with a fly.
Oh,
The Fly.
The Fly.
That's what it makes me think of. We're gonna be spliced with water bears.
Yeah. Or mushrooms.
Oh god, there's
We all look like a bunch of weird druids from like Dungeons and Dragons.
there's
We're gonna sit there and eat a bunch like Vikings and go berserk, and then we survive space.
there's
Fucking
an anime actually about this where they splice people with bugs.
Oh yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So
See Mark.
I had a question for you. So I've been
I
reading
wanna
the
bug out.
Pacific
42.
about the Pacific War, and they were talking about. I know history talks about, a lot of people talk about how the Japanese were interned. Did you know they did stuff to the Italians and the Germans?
Who's they?
U.S. government.
America.
Oh,
So
America.
executive order.
America.
Yes.
So executive order 9066 issued on February 19th, 1942. At that moment in time, American heritage, Italian American had been 5 million people. Under this order, suspects of American Italian descent were subject to many of the following: loss of constitutional right, arrest and interrogation, classified as enemy soldiers. So I've been reading reports of people disappearing in the middle of the night, being raided by the FBI and the government. They weren't allowed to, if they're working on if they're working on like the railroad, they were no longer allowed to work in certain areas. Like all sorts of crazy stuff. And that's the first time I heard about it, was when I'm reading the Pacific War book.
Boy, you're going to have an FBI file now. You're releasing all
You're
this
digging
information.
too deep, John.
Yeah.
Hey, blame
Now I already
You're in
reported
trouble.
him like 5 years ago.
Jeez.
Oh, great! I just have to be like the J. Edgar Hoover and start wearing a dress. I'll get away with it.
But yeah.
I was
So-
Yeah, well, I mean, the Germans, I mean, even, when the war was kind of kicking off on the European side, before we were involved, they had even put out the word, to the American side and Europe and everything, the all true Aryans come back to the motherland, kind of a thing.
I do know, or at least I remember reading something, that German was like one of the top 5 languages spoken in the U.S. at the time, and then after the war, it dropped dramatically.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, I wonder
English is
why.
a Germanic language.
Well, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, it's mostly German. A little bit of like French and Latin influences, but mostly German. And to my knowledge, I believe Jamaican is the only American or the only English derivative, like the only language created from English.
That makes sense, actually.
Because it's technically its own language.
We'll have to get an expert on. I don't know that I believe any of that.
You don't believe
all
Brian's an
bullshit.
expert?
No. Sorry.
He sounds like one.
That's a good rule of thumb. Because fuck, I talk a good game. But
Yeah,
damn.
you do, dude, but I don't believe any of it.
Not bad for a guy whose most conversations involve somebody who can't talk back.
You really get to test out your ideas, though. You know, they're just
Yeah, you do.
it's a captive
Run it up the
audience.
flagpole, see if anybody salutes.
Blink if you think I'm wrong. All right.
So much for that one. All right, John, next story.
All right. Did you hear they found a vampire in a Polish cemetery?
They did. Why'd you tell us about it?
So the skeletal remains date back to the 17th century. It has a sickle around its neck. If you take a look, there's pictures. They dug her up, and there's legitimately a sickle across her neck. There's a lock on one of her toes. One part of the article says it was one of the most disturbing things they've seen.
I saw the picture, and I don't know how you consider that disturbing. It's
I
a
was kind of
skeleton
wondering
with.
the same thing.
Come on, guys.
Was she alive?
And
Well,
where
at
does
one
the
point,
particular vampire evidence come
Hundreds
in?
of years ago. Yeah.
They
Yeah,
said-
where did the vampire come in?
According to this, the woman was buried with a silk cap, which archaeologists thought indicated high rank in society. A front tooth jutted out of the mouth. A feature that could have, air quotes there, raised suspicion that she was a vampire.
Oh, so like, oh, she's a witch burner, like one of those, like she's got a tooth.
Exactly.
They just show up with pitchforks and torches.
There were no orthodontists back then.
It reminds me of Monty Python with the
Yeah.
rabbit. He's got big teeth and fangs.
Yeah, it's just,
That's it.
That
That'd
was
be a witch.
that was
Well,
actually
I
kind of
mean-
what I was thinking of Monty Python when I read it. I don't know. It was interesting because they dig these up once in a while where these people were, they sometimes they're thrown in with like rope with a ton of knots in it. Oh, they have to spend the whole time untying, or they have a bunch of like random objects thrown in there because they have to count them. It's fascinating to me.
I got a random question. I've asked a couple of people this already. I'm trying to think of a great way to phrase it, but basically it has to be pre-1900, okay? So you can't use like knowledge of like the stock market and things like that. What is the most recent time you feel like you can go back in time and basically just like run the world? Or like rule an entire country based off of just your knowledge as a modern human being? Like, I just know so much more than these people that they're going to see me as their god kind of territory.
The Dark Ages.
I mean,
Well,
I'm trying to think of anything beyond that because
No,
then
I
John,
got it.
You
I
would be
got it.
killed as a witch.
The world doesn't know anything about Beatles.
I'm too
So I'll
pretty
just
to
be
kill.
I'll come out and I'll be able to play every Beatles song, and they'll just
Right.
think I'm a genius.
right.
Right?
Yeah.
Pre
something-
1900.
There's a movie that does it.
Yeah,
Un-
there
un-
is. It's
unless-
a great movie, actually.
Unless you're playing a guitar in the church, and then they'll murder you for being blasphemer.
John got muted. Blasphemous.
Yeah, I when I was a kid, I remember conversations about a guy wanting to play a guitar in church and like, type of thing.
Mhm.
You should have heard when they brought drums in.
He wasn't going to play in a church.
But where else do these people hear music?
Speakeasies?
Oh boy. Okay.
So he's going to conquer the world in 1920. I'm not quite sure he would do well in that.
I might have to go back a little further, right?
All right. I mean, if you go to the Middle Ages, I think you're going to be playing it on a lute, and I don't know how much that's
A
going to
lute.
transfer.
Well,
I
see,
mean,
that's
if you're-
you can be the guy that invents the better guitar. You know what I mean? And
Oh,
just,
yeah.
I don't. Yeah. Just,
like
Yeah.
for example, like I would imagine the somewhere around the birth of firearms, because I know enough about the incremental steps of firearms that I would just be the guy that comes up with the next idea like a month after the last idea. Like, hey, you know how we can make this better? you know, and then you give me like a couple of years, we'll be right, and I'll have somebody else make it because, you know, I'm not a gunsmith, but I could definitely be like, you know, what we need is like an internal striker fire mechanism.
Yeah.
So we
And,
wouldn't
like, you know, I go
have-
back to 1420, and by 1450, I've got like a Glock 19.
So we wouldn't have any of the Henrys or the Winchesters. We just have all the Prestons.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Also, if you have a Glock 19, you're apparently also the inventor of petroleum and plastic.
Yeah, no, but sure, but like, okay, go back to like muzzle loaders with, you know, wad and stuff. I'm the guy that comes up with the paper cartridge. Then I start talking to like a metalsmith, like, hey, can we make this paper and it, like, but actually something a little bit better? You know, let's keep working on this gunpowder recipe, guys. You know, let's step up our game a little bit.
Well, you know, so let's not forget. You know, you remember what the Nobel Prize is about, right? Nobel.
Yeah.
Nobel invented what? What did Nobel invent?
Dynamite.
Oh shit! I think I
Dynamite.
used this.
Exactly.
Yep.
Oh,
So there you go.
there we go.
Okay.
Now I don't even remember the recipe for dynamite, so I'm useless on like explosives and things like that. But
Well, it's basically black powder with. Well, I don't want to say it now over the air.
but like I
Just-
definitely I know
I know
what
the
flint
recipe for
is.
black powder.
Well,
I can-
everybody should.
Wait, now
If,
the old guy has an FBI file.
Well, yeah, for black powder, I got, but I'm going back to a
Again?
time where they know about black powder. So, you know, you take me back to a matchlock, and I'm the guy that comes up with the flintlock, you know,
Okay.
So
And then the cartridge and
and then the cartridge, et cetera, et cetera.
We got it. We understand you've been busy fantasizing about
No,
this.
actually, this
See-
is the first example I've come up with that's any decent, really.
I think Ryan would just, you know, I mean, he would definitely get in explosives and then probably blow himself up with some nitro.
Yeah, probably.
That's what I see what happening.
Yeah, that
And
would
I
be
mean,
it. Hey,
other
look
than
what I
that,
invented.
he's gonna blow himself up with the way that those gunpowder facilities were back then. He's gonna
Yeah.
go in there and start changing shit and blow
Yeah.
himself up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't think he would last very long, honestly.
so I
I
have
mean, child labor laws back then too, Ryan. I mean, you got tiny hands, you know, like
I mean, good
doing
point,
those
but you know, I don't work in the factory. You know what I mean? I'm
He'll
like
pay
the-
other people.
oh,
to
you're
do
just
that.
the idea guy.
I'm the idea
That's
guy.
right. He's just
I got
the
an
idea
office
guy. That's
somewhere.
he's a witch.
know.
They'll burn him. So I have another good story for those who may have issues with law enforcement. So 40.
We got that weird music cover, something bleeding through again. Who's listening to other
You're
stuff?
bleeding.
Hey,
There's
come on.
TV again bleeding in through the audio.
James. I think it's James's fault.
We're gonna get copyrighted.
So
Good.
if you venture about 40 miles north of Little Rock, Arkansas, you'll come across a small town called Menifee. Menifee. And guess what? The cops can no longer do, at least for 1 year. Right.
Go to a donut shop.
Stop moonshiners.
Write tickets.
Write tickets.
How many
What?
tickets are we talking about? A report from THV11 News in Little Rock, Arkansas doesn't specifically total, but news outlet received a list of officers' tickets. As a result, they pulled in quite a bit of tickets, generated income reports of an audit revealed over $120,000 from traffic tickets, which is about 50% of their revenue.
Okay, so in other words, they've been running speed traps, which was famous in the South, a lot of areas there, and you would get a lot of people having to pay all these fines, and it raises money for the town. So now, who told them that they can no longer write
The
tickets?
mayor claims he told the police chief not to write tickets for anything less than 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, but they were doing it anyways. Meanwhile, the police chief says the 2020 audit included money collected on older dues and fees from previous years, making it look like more revenue was being generated. Whatever the case, the local police for the 2.2 square mile town are no longer allowed to write speeding tickets.
Any speeding tickets. So then you get, so the town is 2 miles long approximately. So anybody can go there and speed like crazy.
Well, okay.
Drag races.
To a certain point, because here's the thing: is there's a point when it stops becoming a traffic infraction and becomes a criminal act.
Reckless endangerment.
There you go. Yeah.
Not
You
that
know.
I would know.
No. How did you know that, by the way?
She's only got like a felony and tickets.
Hey.
No, it's her. She was doing research for Oddassaty. That's why it's have you ever gone past this?
Sure. Yeah.
Good job, John.
Sounds good.
I love our sponsor, Oddassaty. I would never say anything against Oddassaty.
Okay, next.
Okay. Winnie
All
the
right.
Pooh.
Dead Air brought to you
So-
by
No, no
Oddassaty.
kidding.
We were
Oh, Dee Dee.
so since Walmart made us our own checkers now, this
Yeah,
woman
self-check.
in Texas got arrested for scanning fake barcodes at the Walmart self-checkout line.
Why would you scan fake barcodes?
Because you
Like
can
ones that are
for
less
so
cheap.
cost
she
or something?
loaded up her cart, went to the self-checkout line, had a barcode for a 25-cent item, and continually scanned it
Oh,
and put her items in that spot.
got it.
So, anyways, she got arraigned on Sunday and has a bond for $3,000. So it wasn't that much, apparently, that they're charging her. But I'm thinking, like, in California, I don't even think they could stop you for that.
Probably not.
What I'm baffled on is somebody actually considered a slightly clever way to rip off a Walmart. Most of the time, people just
I
go in there
know.
and like walk
Just
out
take
with
it.
shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Not
They were
smart enough to even try to come up with a plan.
It's
I
since,
know that's quite a good plan, actually. If I really think about it,
Do you
I wonder
think
how
she
many
used
times
that?
she actually did it.
See, that's one of
Yeah.
those things. I'd only try that shit once. I'm like, nope, I got away with this one.
You think she tried to use that same barcode to cover her bond?
That'd be hilarious.
You know,
Hey, I
she
got a
should-
barcode for that one. Here you go.
so I got sent a list, the craziest things that happened from the 70s from our producer. I figured, here's a listicle.
Yes.
Don't blame me. Don't blame the
Oh,
producer.
I've got some of that. It was the strangest things that happened in the 1970s, and
Yes.
I'm the only one here that was
So
truly alive and upright in the 1970s.
So the old guy can say if this was crazy or not. Number 10, David Bowie's alter ego, Ziggy Stardust.
I love that album.
I've heard
Yeah.
part of it. I want to hear the rest of it.
It's a good one.
That's a good one.
That was a real thing.
The Beatles breaking up.
Yeah, that was a sad time.
It's all that bitch Carol Baskin's fault.
Carol Baskin.
You know, I can't argue with you there, Ryan.
I don't know why that name was on my mind a couple of days ago, and I started cracking myself up over that bitch Carol Baskin.
Somebody somewhere is screaming at Ryan for that.
Why are you throwing me into that? Yeah.
Because it's convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live debuts.
Yeah. That
Oh
was
yeah,
the
it was
days when
75.
it was really good. Now it's crap.
76.
I think Andy Kaufman was the first musical guest.
Battle of the Sexes.
Oh, the game show.
55-year-old Bobby
Yeah.
Riggs publicly announced that even at his age, he could beat any woman at tennis. 20-year-old Billie Jean King accepted a challenge and beat him in 3 shots.
Yeah.
She won the $100,000 prize. Her victory became a statement of females everywhere that they could win over their male.
She kicked his
contemporaries.
ass. What an asshole he was. Go ahead. Yeah. Melanie's raising her fist, you know. It's girl power. Woohoo.
LSD was at its peak.
I have no knowledge.
Thanks to MK Ultra.
I'm sorry.
Um,
Won't admit anything.
LSD brought to you by the U.S. government.
glass
That's
eating.
right.
Number 5.
See, now that was one I saw that glass eating. It's like, nah, there was a few magicians trying to show that you could chomp
So,
on glass.
according to this, Philadelphia Eagles pro linebacker Tim Rosevich showed in public he was so tough he could eat glass from beer bugs. Then a Harvard student wanted to prove that Roshevich wasn't that special, so he too ate a light bulb. So this was a TikTok challenge before TikTok, ladies and gentlemen. Just to prove, in the 70s, we were as stupid as they were as stupid as we are.
Yeah, I think Roberto Duran's got that beat. He was a boxer who said that he could knock a horse out with one punch, and then he fucking did it.
The poor horse.
And
Just
then he got
long
arrested
ago
for
before.
animal.
Oh no,
killing.
it was horrible, and
You know,
I don't think I think
come on.
everybody felt some kind of way about it, but it's like man, the guy wasn't bullshitting.
Did PETA euthanize him?
I mean, it's better than like Edison doing not experiments.
Oh, let's not go in
The
there.
elephant?
Oh no, I don't even want to talk about that crap.
The Munich Olympic terror in
Now
72.
this one,
yeah,
this
that's
one was
crazy.
horrible, guys, and
Yeah,
to watch
yeah.
it live was just unbelievable.
In
I
19
imagine that's a glued to your TV set kind of a night.
In
It was
1972,
horrible.
the Palestinian terror group Black September attacked during the Summer Olympics held at Munich, West Germany. All the Israeli Olympic team members they took as hostage were killed.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
yeah,
awful.
that was a crazy one. They made a really good movie that had to do with sort of the aftermath of that about the it's called Munich, about the Mossad sending out people to try to kill the people responsible for Black September.
It was really the start for the Mossad. That's the reason they were put together, is to get everybody in to assassinate. Oh, shall we say, remove those individuals? And they did.
This is,
What are we listening to, James?
hey, James,
Stuff.
you want to share with the rest of class?
Jeez.
No, I don't speak Korean. Sorry.
It's a creepy voice in the background.
Goodness gracious! All right, go ahead,
So,
Jonathan.
and something that could be described as from California, the Jonestown Massacre. Massacre?
Massacre.
Manicure? No, the massacre.
They all died, but they had pretty nails.
That was bad.
And the arrest of Ted Bundy and Charles Manson. That
Yeah, it was. That was okay. Next.
and number one, the death of the great ones: Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin,
Yes.
and John Morrison. All at 27.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you meant Jim Morrison.
Jim. Yeah,
Close
He did.
enough.
he's only reading it. So,
Yeah.
so John, on top of this stuff.
Oh, you're right. John Morrison's, excuse me, the reason why he's a wrestler. Excuse me, Jim Morrison.
So I got a list of things that the funny things people in the 1970s were totally guilty of doing. Our producer for some reason was on to the 70s. She wasn't even born then either. Well, anyway, there's things like owning a pet rock. Did you guys ever know what a pet rock was?
Yes.
Yes, I've been told about these.
So the guy was a genius. He put a rock in a box and sold it, and idiots were smart enough to buy it.
Yeah, googly eyes did it.
Wait,
Well-
hold on. 1 second.
What? Huh? Hello?
Applause.
Oh,
Oh, is that okay?
we didn't hear it. So yeah, pet rock. Polyester became a thing to wear. That was kind of weird. I'll tell you what, if you were a smoker back then and you wore the polyester that we had in the 70s, you either burnt constant holes all through your clothes, or sometimes it caught on fire. Was it
Oh
very
yeah, no, that's probably where spontaneous combustion first
Yeah,
started to get reported.
just about. Yeah, it was really bad. Lava lamps, those were cool. I liked.
Hey, I owned a couple lava lamps.
Yeah, well,
I had a polyester shirt on at Burning Man, and they said I couldn't shoot a flamethrower because it might melt my shirt to my skin. So
Yeah.
I asked if I could do it topless, and they said yes.
Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
It was one of the greatest moments of my life.
That is the
Yeah.
most amazing thing I've ever heard.
It sounds like something
right.
from Barbarella. I love that. It's got to be in a sci-fi movie at some point, or a
I
Mad
love
Max
every
movie.
single part of that.
that was a good one.
I love the firearm safety. I love
Yeah.
I love the compromise. I love the idea of shooting a flamethrower.
That's right.
And I mean the unnecessary cherry on top of topless is right over the edge.
Yeah,
Also,
absolutely.
it was a contest because it was like, when you go to the fair and you shoot the water guns and whoever gets their thing to the top first wins. It was like that. So you had a flamethrower and there was like 5 people with flamethrowers and you had to burn something, and whoever burned it first like one.
But
Melanie, we need to hang out.
by the way, I is this a Audacity card? What is the craziest thing you've done topless? That sounds.
I mean,
Oh,
shoot a
that's a good
flamethrower
one.
is the greatest answer to that I think anybody could ever have.
That's an automatic win. To be honest,
I can't wait to
I've done
do
many
the
things
show. Let's do the
topless.
show descriptions and make sure that we go Melanie goes topless. That'll be the
I'm-
headline.
I'm proud of myself for cooking bacon without a shirt on.
Yeah. That'll finally
All
get the
right.
traction we've been waiting for.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, there's the
Oh.
thumbnail for the show.
Yeah.
no, I'm just.
Okay. Did you get a picture?
I want the slow motion, just the.
Mood rings. You guys remember mood rings?
Oh God,
Those were
that,
so-
Yeah,
that
we
made,
had
that made
those
a
as
comeback
kids.
in the '90s. Yeah,
yeah.
Along with bell bottoms.
So
they were
here's
called
one.
Jenkos, but yeah.
Here's one I could never understand was shag carpeting.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah,
That was
luckily
like-
that was pretty short lived.
Was
Yeah.
it Jeff?
My
Fox?
grandpa used to have a little rake
Yeah.
in his
Yeah.
house, and
Yeah.
he would rake
rake!
his carpet.
And a
That's
raker's carpet.
fantastic.
Jeff
Yeah.
Fox, where they
You know
have
what I'm also glad was kind of short lived was those short back couches from the '60s. Those things were, I mean, just no kind of upper back support. It was-
Well, Jeff Foxworthy had a joke in his first apartment. Every time he raked up his carpet, he'd kick up a rabbit.
Well, vacuuming was very interesting as
yeah,
well.
you find that
God.
cat you forgot you lost.
Macrame was big back in the 70s too. You remember that?
Yes,
I don't know if I
Oh,
remember
it
what the hell
seemed
macrame
like-
was.
Everybody that could knit, purl one, skip two, whatever, was also in the macrame. That was that stuff you hung on the walls.
I know somebody who's into it. Their house looked like the 70s exploded.
Yeah, there you go.
Was it those things in the ring, like the little wooden ring?
Yes.
Well, the wood,
Ish.
as long as you're not talking about dream catchers.
No,
No.
yeah, there was like a stretched out piece of fabric with like a needle point
No,
thing
no,
in it.
no. Look, the macrame is different. Look
look
it up.
up-
It looks
Macrame
like
pot
braided
holders.
hemp.
Yeah,
Holy crap.
it's-
Wait, hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, we're doing something we've never seen Ryan before do. Google something.
Oh,
That shit.
all right. Let's see. I was trying to get through this list here. They show a
Good luck.
picture of the Bee Gees with their shirts buttoned way down at the bottom. It says shirts way too low, unbuttoning way too low. So, liking disco. I don't know what anybody thought was wrong with disco. It was pretty cool.
How dare
This
you.
coming from the music snob. I'm impressed.
ABBA, that was a big thing in the 70s. Not my
a giant
thing.
fan.
I don't know where they came up with growing mustaches and mutton chops. That was like back in the turn of the century, 20th century. That was popular.
Yeah, I think those things have cycles to them, like fashion and things like
Yeah.
that. What bugs me about like modern fashion is okay. So they brought back high waisted jeans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Problem with that is, it was what my mom wore, not when she was young, but when she was like 40. So if somebody brought back a fashion that my mother wore when she was 20, I don't have a frame of reference for that. And I'm able to be like, oh, bell bottoms, those are actually kind of hot. Because I didn't watch my mom walk around in those, but I watched my mom wear nothing but high-waisted jeans like 20 years ago. And they're coming back, and all I see is my mom jeans.
See,
Yeah.
to me, a 40-year-old woman is damn good.
I'm just saying there's got to be like a 30-year gap where you can only go you can't go back any more recent than 30 years before.
Okay, I got it.
Just what I need. Fashion advice from Ryan. That phew.
Okay, we'll get
The
through this
fashion
list
to
real
die
quick.
for.
Owning a Pinto, in the 70s was big.
Oh,
with
God.
Pintos. Chevy
Those are the
Vegas.
ones that exploded.
Yes.
You survived owning it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good place for the gas tank.
It was just bad design.
Hey, where do we
But-
put this? I don't know, right behind the back seat.
Just
like
put
all
it
the
where it can
trucks in
blow
the
up.
70s.
Waiting in line for gas for hours. Yeah, you guys really missed the whole
the rationing thing or whatever, right?
embargo, the whole thing
Yeah.
that happened. That was just pain in the ass.
I bet.
I'm not upset by that.
The closest I
that
got was
awful.
$7.50.
And I'll finish it up.
a
The last
gallon.
big item in the 1970s was owning a waterbed. And I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know waterbed until the 90s.
Yeah, I knew people that owned water beds, but man, those things are overrated.
My
you
favorite
know,
thing about
it depend on-
waterbeds was watching, animals fly across the room when you didn't know the other one was
When
on
you
the
jumped
other
on
side.
it.
Yeah.
I got to tell you though, when they came out with the higher end waterbeds that have baffles in them, they didn't do that, and then the water was heated, nice and warm. They were great.
Sure.
Minus,
The problem is when those things go
minus
wrong,
leakage.
they go really wrong.
Yeah, they did.
So
All right, John.
wait,
How
hold on,
close to wrap this one up, huh?
I got a story to end the show on just because I thought it was funny. The new movie coming out. Check out the trailer. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Winnie the Pooh, what?
Blood and Honey.
Blood and honey.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes, I am so excited for it. I've seen the trailer.
Hold on a second.
ladies,
Yes, look this
Is
shit
this a
up.
porno?
No, this is legit. Look it up.
Blood.
so,
Blood,
so,
honey.
ladies and gentlemen, for the California
What
Pariah, the
the
fat
hell?
man, the old guy, Ryan Preston, and one of my favorite people, Miss Oddassaty. And I'm not just saying that because she's a sponsor. So as always, thank you for listening.
Sure hope you hit record on this one.